All right, YouTube, good morning. Happy good Tuesday to everybody, I guess. Hope everybody's doing good. Your savings account's probably, or your 401k is probably not doing so good, or otherwise. But it is what it is. What does it really mean? I don't know that we know. Could mean a lot of things, a lot of speculation, a lot of finger pointing going on out there right now. I'll tell you that much. But the biggest thing to know is, how are you set to thrive and survive past it? I think that would be the words of advice. What do you have asset wise not tied up in the markets that you can utilize and use to prosper and grow off of? Land is always a good option. But so anybody that hasn't been living under a rock, hasn't been in the news or on YouTube in the last 24 hours, stock markets have been getting crushed since yesterday. Well, since last Thursday. We're down. It went down precipitously yesterday, down to up to 1,600. Then it got a big recovery and still finished down 1,100. Let's click over here to the financial side real quick. We're going to focus on this at the beginning. So it's down 530 today. That's 3 days of 2,300. Statistic wise, that's what, 5%? Is that a 5% total in 3 days? Not catastrophic. My math sucks right now. We were at what, 2,600? 1,000 points for 10, so 2 would be 10, and roughly 5%, if that. So it's not Jung Barley, not that surprising either when you consider how fast and accelerated it took off. Not what I would call not expected. I mean, anybody that didn't see a drop coming, or a correction as they call it, would have to be living in la la land. Even as much as a lot of people like to sell it. You saw articles, oh, this market's got plenty of room to go, yada yada yada. And then all the hand wringing yesterday of even Jim Cramer. There was an article, he was saying the system broke, talking about the security system basically back up to prevent a lot of the secondary effects that the computers have when the computers start selling. People can't even keep up, but the system's supposed to trigger at some point, and I guess it didn't. Sorry, can you hear me now? My bad. I turned off my mic. I didn't realize it. Where did I leave off at? I turned it off briefly to take a sip. So Michael Savage, the talk show host, has rang the alarm that the deep state is trying to destroy Trump. But I think the key is here that they not destroying Trump. If they just, if the market tanks, like really tanks, it destroys their system. It takes the dollar down with it. It takes their ability to create money out of nothing. What would go down? This isn't about Trump. I think people need to understand that he made the mistake of trying to take credit for the stock market, which he should have pointed out is manipulated by and propped up by the banks. It's a casino, but he tried to take credit for it. That was his mistake, or not. Depends on how you look at it. So I don't think anybody should feel sorry for the president, because that's hogwash, I think. Hey, let's check in the side chat there. Sorry, guys. I hope I didn't skip over much in my train of thought there. I was trying to take a sip of coffee off on mute. M Long 5151 down is with us. Barry Wood is with us this morning. Thanks for joining. Does anybody have any financial stories of distress they'd like to share this morning? There were some comments on the video yesterday I put out about some of the mayonnaise saving jar accounts, their mason jar accounts they have tucked away, buried in the ground or otherwise, which can be a wise move. But when you think about it, really in the big picture, I can put my money in Wall Street and try to have more money in the future based upon inflation and the way they run the markets up 20, 30 years down the line. Or you could put money in a piece of property, buy it, obviously with an interest rate on a land purchase, and that would accrue money and interest in the same manner, and speculative value on the value of land, because if they're inflating the dollar, land value goes up as well. Many other assets you could do that with. Any hard asset you can do that with. Why have everybody's been, not say tricked, brainwashed is a bad term, educated. Everybody's been pushed in one direction. It's kind of like everybody's been pushed towards a college degree the last 30 years. Everybody's been pushed to investing in Wall Street. Go over here, invest your money. You'll make lots of money when you retire. What about now? What about living in the now and having something productive? Think about what you can do with land for 20 to 30 years before that money market account 401k even begins to pay dividends. Just a thought. I wish I'd have figured it out a long time ago. I only figured it out 6-7 years ago. After that 08 crash, you just start looking around and trying to figure things out. You're not making any, trying to make a conscious, not a drastic move. It took me a couple years to really figure it out before I did what I could with what I had and got out of the stock market as much as I can. Now, just about every one of us is exposed in some way in the stock market. Everybody's got a mandatory, the Social Security is tied to it, etc. So nobody gets out unscathed on this deal. We're all in it together, but I think we should all expect that you, me, could possibly never see any of our money that we've put into a money market, mutual fund, etc. So just a thought as this thing goes down. So it says it's recovered here a little bit at 250. So maybe it's trying to make a fighting chance back out, which wouldn't be surprising either. There's plenty of money to dump into things. I don't know why. Hey, thanks for joining us out there. Truth Freeze is with us. Walter Davis and Food Force Permaculture has joined us today. Thanks for coming in, fellas. Yeah, land without a home is fairly cheap often. True. In Nevada, you can find some open land. Unfortunately, that land isn't very tenable usually. It's either hard to access or there's no water. I mean, there's other places though where you can still get land. Oklahoma, Texas, many of the southern states, you can get growing land, like green and very prosperous land, sometimes swamp or, marshy, but that can be converted and used. All right. So yeah, I imagine most of you have been paying attention to that situation. Yeah, good point. Truth fees, pooling your money with other friends and family, and ideally family. I mean, it was done for generations, and then there was this whole concept. I don't know why it happened. I even see it in my family. There's still family land available, like where I grew up, um, available that you can split within your family. That still is out there. Um, but going back to the homestead and basically having your plot on one side of the 40 acres or whatever. That used to be the way families prospered. With your great great grandparents had bought 120 acres. The family continues to cultivate and use that land while putting up their own 5 acre homesteads on the fringes or whatever. And boom, I mean, that's the way families got ahead. But then everybody decided to go off to college, leave town. All right. I think we've beat the stock market almost to death if it's not dead already, but it's still kicking. It'll be there tomorrow. Don't worry. But that's what's going on with that. But this tied into the financial side of it, and the Wall Street Journal. Banks were shuttering 1,700 branches in the fastest decline on record. Why would banks shutter branches? Because everything's going virtual. Everything is virtual. There is no money. There's no cash. You don't need to go to the bank. I haven't been to the bank. I mean, everything's done in the bank, you do it at the ATM. You could do it online. Does anybody ever go to the bank? Some people do, but for a cost standpoint from the bank, having a building is really there's no point in it. They don't take your money in there and put it in a vault. That's not doesn't exist anymore. They keep cutting despite growing economy as customers move online. So they're saying it's the customer's fault. It has nothing to do with they've been mandated into automatic deposit, direct deposit. They've been mandated to do that through the employer, so that's already online. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the situation around them. People just made the transition. Everything's going virtual. It's all Bitcoin, just they're not calling it Bitcoin. So bank numbers are down second half of 2017. About many were in big cities and surrounding suburbs where branches are consolidated. Others were in rural areas where some large regional lenders are leaving town altogether. But just sign of the times. I don't think you would expect anything different. That's funny. Walter Davis out in the side chat says or no, I'm sorry, Barry Wood walks in every 2 weeks and declines any auto stuff. And you'd think the teller there talking to you would be appreciative because if you don't walk in, they lose their job. But it seems like they push that on you. Like you have to go to auto. It's so much better. And you're looking at the person straight across from you who, if you go auto and every person they talk to goes auto for everything, they're going to lose their job. Instead of having like that 10-person, 5-person self-service bank up there, they're going to have one person, if that. Is that even needed? One person to manage the whole bank and plus customer service. They're all going to be gone. So another sign of the times. What was the, oh, save that for a second. All right. So in somewhat related, it's related to money. Don't forget this Friday is another government shutdown. As if the first one wasn't fun enough, they threatened us with another one. So all that fun we had a couple weeks ago, we would go through again to see what kind of debacle they can turn into and see how much stuff they can pack in here that they think we won't notice. Or kick the can down the road without doing a real budget as well. They're meeting last night to decide how to avoid another federal shutdown. They're not worried about doing a budget. They're worried about avoiding a shutdown. So let's be clear. So that is going on in the halls of Congress, it appears. So they're pushing for a continuing resolution, not a real budget. So that's clear. With the defense funding. But we've got to update the defense funding. So the defense funding is not going to be in a continuing resolution. Defense funding is going to be fully funded and get everything they want. Plus what Trump added. Trump added even more. It's like, what did we talked about a couple weeks ago? 800 and some billion, which is a 200 billion more than the 600 billion the Defense Department was asking for. Insanity. So before you get sideswiped by all the other mainstream media here Thursday, know that it's coming. And I guess they already got 44 Senate Democrats lined up to block the bill. And the Senate is going to, that's based upon the stripping the extra defense money, that extra above what the DOD asked for, because continuing resolution, if they don't pass it for the defense, would be reduced to current levels. So it'd take all the extra money out. And Schumer's got 44 Democrats lined up already to do that. And a lot of it's focused around DACA. So they're using this, I don't know what the word, they're using DACA to play off each other, to blame each other for the situation. Each blaming the other. So yay, I had fun the first time. How about you? Hey, but there's weather out there that really affects you and yours today. Let's look over here. Looks like I got another storm headed out east. If y'all didn't get enough weather already, quit hogging it all. I keep telling y'all to share out here. But with that storm coming, looks like it's the one coming through Nebraska and Kansas right now. Y'all folks in Montana still getting some snow, it looks like. Seattle looks kind of dry up there, Barry. You guys, Food Forest, looks like you guys are going to be drying out a little bit. But the Northeast still getting snow. Let me check back here in the chat room. Talking about M. Long buying his money at auction. Nobody showed up but him, which is a good thing. Yeah, Walter Davis, less brick and mortar means less payroll, higher profit for business. Indeed. That's why a lot of them are, I mean, Walmart's online. All these places are following Amazon. Did Trump kick the proposed budget back because of no wall funding? No budget has got to trump Walter Davis. These have all been continuing resolutions, so they've been minimal funding, so they were approved, obviously, by Trump to prevent the shutdown. And it looks like this is a continuing resolution as well. They haven't even debated a full budget. What you're supposed to do budget for a full year. We've been on continuing resolution pretty much since 2011, something crazy, since we've had a real budget. So I don't know how long this continuing resolution will last for, if it'll last through October or not, which is usually the way this works. They'll do this continuing resolution up to, what's been October to now, bounced around, and then they'll kick forward another one until October when the federal fiscal year ends. And then they'll say they're going to talk about a budget, and then they kick another continuing resolution. It's been going on for years and years, which is why we don't get anywhere with any real cost reductions or anything substantial. Market is in the green 100, M. Long says. We'll check back in on it before we check out of here. About 10 minutes remaining. Barry Wood said it's windy but sprinkling, so you're in that small little bit of Washington there. Radar's not showing much for you guys out there, but if you're near the mountains there, Walter, you could always, or Barry, you could always get a little bit of weather. Sorry, you guys are right next to you on the chat, Barry and Walter, and I'm like trying to figure out who's saying what. Yeah, Walter, exactly. A continuing resolution is unlimited budget. They basically don't have to have no restriction. That's the same with the debt limit. They keep kicking the debt limit thing down the road. Never ends. So if anybody's got anything before the last 10 minutes, make sure you put it in the comments. We can discuss or look it up. Make sure you're checking out the cards at the top right corner there. Some channels I recommend for your YouTube viewing pleasure to go check out. One thing that did pop on the radar this morning, which is ironic considering the situation that's been going down the last 2 months, a tsunami warning was in effect. Put out, it was a test, of course, but for Palm Beach County, apparently, a tsunami warning went out, and it doesn't say test on that screenshot you can see there. I don't see test. Severe weather alert. Tsunami warning in effect for West Palm Beach. Yeah, that's kind of, and tsunamis are kind of rare for the Atlantic. It's not like a common thing because of the structure of the continental shelf and everything. But that'll wake you up in the morning. I wonder if Angel R got one of those. That would be relatively hilarious, other than it being another missed test opportunity by somebody who should know better. So the alert went out on Twitter and to individual alerts in localities included Palm Beach County, which is an automatic text alert I believe that they push to your phone. No test was included. Oh my goodness. I would like to hear Angel R, what kind of chaos that may have ensued from that. These people running these drills really need to get their act together. They're going to cause some. Oh, East Village, New York got a warning as well. It wasn't just Florida. That would be even more bizarre. So the East Village got a similar. Oh my goodness! Surprised they didn't have a everybody in New York's probably like, yeah, whatever. Somebody screwed up, pushed the wrong button. I could just hear that discussion. It wasn't like nobody panicking. Of course, it was middle of the morning, so a little bit easier to get news sources and quick response than the one that went out. Well, the real one that went out for Alaska or for the Canadian coast, like Food Forest had, middle of the morning, like, man. Which I'm still on the lookout for a video, Food Forest. I could have missed it in my feed. Did you do a video on your whole tsunami evacuation situation yet? That reminded me, and I have not seen it, but no rush. I just wanted to ask if I'd missed it. So yeah, failed test from AccuWeather. Awesome. Those that pushing text messages and emergencies on text message was a great idea. Yeah, Walter Davis says one house being flattened there would put the damage in the billions. I guess we're talking South Florida, Walter, Miami Beach, etc., or even New York, Long Island. I mean, that's all expensive areas. So, one final story that I had selected that I saw this morning. I guess you can ignore the disease type and everything. That's not the important part here. But 1,200 security workers at the Pyeongchang, I guess is how you say it, Pyeongchang, tested for norovirus. Very highly infectious. You get sick. You know, it's like the flu times 10. You get very sick. You're out of action for a while. So 1,200 people working security are being isolated and quarantined while they're tested for norovirus. In the meantime, they're bringing in the military to do the security, which that was the key point. I'm sure the military over there has got lots of wraparound stuff you don't see at the events, but it sounds like these are going to be the people that are actually at the venue, and they're bringing in the military to fill the gap in the meantime because they're keeping the area secure while they're doing all the preparations and get ready to get started, right? Here's a separate article. So 1,200 security workers. So that means they were probably all eating from the same food source or some sort of similar living condition to all be tested at the same time. It's kind of like a school. They had to all be together. So there might be housing there at the Olympic site together to cause that testing to be done, I would think. And this is USA Today, and they're bringing in the military for backup, which not a good look if you're trying to look like you're reunifying your country and stuff, and you're bringing the military into the Olympic Games. I guess they could dress them down a little bit to tone it down. We'll see what they do if they decide to do that. I think that they could find 1,200 people to come in and take that hit. And USA Today messing with my... Oh, they didn't want me to read the whole thing. All right, I guess the Dow is in the green now. As we wrap up this Tuesday morning, turns positive. Try to recover from steep sell-off. Yada, yada. So we'll see where that goes today. Watch the weather. Obviously, it's looking like the East Coast is going to get another wallop. Midwest, all you guys. Seems like I got more people watching out there than we do out here. See, we got in the side chat what's going on to finish this up here. Palm Beach is very expensive. Yeah, indeed. Okay, Food Force. Just don't know if I missed it. I didn't want to rush or nothing or make you feel like you weren't doing, you weren't fast enough. But I just want to know if I missed it because I thought it'd be very interesting to see your tsunami evacuation video. And anybody that is not aware, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when the West Coast evacuated. Food Forest had made some video footage of their evacuation from the tsunami zone, and he said he was making a video of it. So I was excited to watch that because that would be some interesting scenes of a real evacuation scenario, a real bug out situation, and how it all went down. Cool, folks. Thanks for joining us, people. Everybody in the side chat, Walter Davis, Food Force Permaculture, Barry Davis, Barry Wood. I don't know why Barry Wood and Walter Davis. I get you two. Like I start calling you the same. Sorry about that. You don't even have a similar icon picture. I don't know what the deal is. MLong5151 is with us. Truth Freeze was with us earlier out there. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for following along. But with no other news in the side chat, the Dow pretty much taking up all most of the information bandwidth out here on the net. Other than the weather, folks, just be prepared out there. Obviously, be watching out for. If I get a tsunami warning, you'll know things are bad. Somebody really screwed up. Okay, folks, go have a good day. Live free.